a certain type of person. You can be you. When you just be more of who you are, people become magnetized to you. It's not about becoming somebody that you're not. It's about being more of who you are. Some people might look at me and think, wow, that seems impossible. There's no way that I could get there, but maybe one day. And I remember feeling the same way. I would want to work and be successful, and I know I have the ambition, but I just thought, how can I do this without exhausting myself?
So if we have a reality right now that we're not completely happy with, the good news is that your thoughts created it. What we need to do is change our thoughts. Everything is breadcrumbs. Everything will lead you to something else, especially if you're open and you're being aware of everything that's coming into your peripheral. You don't have to have your ducks in a row. You don't have to have a plan laid out. You just need to know what the next step is. What is the first step? And then what's the next step after that? And that's how you overcome the mountain.
Those dings are you making sales online. And it was at that moment that my body experienced every single emotion possible, because I had just proved that it worked. All these stories that I've heard about people making money online, I just did it. It was better than winning the lottery, because I just realized that I could make money. I didn't have to have a boss telling me, you have to be there from 9 to 5, you have to wear this, you have to do this. No, I proved to myself that I could do this, and it was so empowering.
Hi, I'm Christy Frank, your host for the Millionaire Within Her docuseries. You're finally here, live for episode 1. I'm so excited to have you have a front row seat. Every time I finished an interview, I was overwhelmed. I can't wait for you to see this. I have to tell you, we're starting this whole thing out with some compelling women tonight. Whether you're looking to improve your business, your financial situation, or just looking for a group of women to grow with, you're going to be inspired. Right now, we start the journey of combining our feminine values of inclusion, compassion, empathy, humility, and we discover how it makes us uniquely able to relate to money, that taboo that women have been pushed out of. This information is so important to all women, and I'm so grateful that you are here with us. The Millionaire Within Her is a project of love and helping women with their money. Please take a moment and share this free premiere with the women in your circle. And now, enjoy episode number 1. On Instagram star Juliana Garcia, she took our interview in a completely new direction. I hope you'll love it as much as I did. Juliana, it's so nice to see you. Thank you for coming.
It's such a pleasure to be here.
So to start off, tell me about yourself and your business.
So what I do is I help coaches who are really good at what they do and are creating amazing results with their clients. I help them clarify their message so that they can attract more premium clients. A lot of the people that I work with are underpricing themselves, so they're not really charging for the value that they're delivering and the transformation that they're giving to their clients. And so what I do is I really help them see differently the power and the potency of what they do and help them charge accordingly so that they can have businesses that are actually nourishing and not depleting them.
Okay, I can't wait to dive into all of that. But the first thing that comes to mind before you back up and tell me how you got here was it sounds like you're talking about a worth thing, a worth issue. Tell me more about that.
Well, when I was little, I saw my mom work very hard. very hard as an entrepreneur. She is an independent woman.
What did she do?
And she's a dentist. And so she had her own clinic. By herself, she created this clinic. She never worked for anyone. She just studied and created her own business from the very beginning. She had me when she was 18 years old. And so I was always provided for. She always provided anything that I wanted, but I saw how hard she worked and how much people loved her, wanted to work with her, but she wasn't really charging as much as I know she could have. Like, she was being very generous. And so when I grew up thinking we undercharge. Wow. We sign up for success. I always wanted to be successful.
We as women, is that what you're saying?
Yes, as women. We over-deliver, we go above the line. But we don't really take up too much space. We don't ask for too much. And it makes me so emotional.
It
makes me so emotional.
Right. It's so right.
It makes me so emotional thinking about my mom because, when I grew up, I saw her sign up for success, but I have to work hard to make money. That was a belief that she signed up for, and then I signed up for it. I said, I want to be successful, so I will work hard to make money. That's the only way that I knew. So I knew how to work hard. I knew how to be the best. I knew how to blow people's minds with whatever it is that I did at school, in my jobs, and everywhere. And it was very exhausting. And it didn't really get me very far without sacrificing my health, my freedom, my happiness. I would want to work and be successful, and I know I have the ambition, but I just thought, how can I do this without exhausting myself? And that's when I decided to figure out a different way. I started peeling the layers of all the beliefs that I had around as a woman. What can I ask for? What should I be asking for? What's too much? What is enough? What are the limits? And it all came down to money and price and how I valued my services as an entrepreneur.
What you just said is why we're doing this series. It's exactly why. And I look at you and you're so young, and the fact that you're discovering it now, this is why the series is here. Because women, as a culture, as a whole, where we are right now, we don't value ourselves. We think money, we have all these misconceptions. So this is exactly, and you're so young, like as a teacher, this is so beautiful. So yes, this is perfect.
Okay.
But I want to know how you got into marketing. Like, why is this your thing? Or what do you teach? So tell me about your journey here, because your message behind it is, I think, what every woman watching this needs to hear and to know and to just experience.
Well, when I was little, I remember thinking, I want to have fun and I want to be successful. And I always loved music. I wanted to become a sound engineer. So I wanted to be a DJ. And I then realized that to become an engineer, you have to study for 4 years and do math. And I'm like, I'm not available for that. I want to have fun. So how can I make money and have fun? And I was always so good at communicating. I was always leading in class, leading the dance classes, just leading somebody, leading the people to a result. And marketing was something that a friend told me, you'd be so good at marketing. And I was 16 years old. And I was like, I guess I'll just study marketing. And I decided that I wanted to move from Colombia, because I was born in Colombia. I taught myself how to speak English when I was 8. And at the age of 17, I decided to move to Australia by myself to study marketing because it sounded like fun and like I would be good at it. And ever since then, since I was 18, I moved halfway around the world on my own, and I studied marketing. And what I found is that marketing is really at the core. Communication is at the core. What has the world move around? If you think about it, if you ask, you receive. If you want something, you communicate your idea, and then you get paid for it. As an entrepreneur, businesses, marketing is at the core of how we exchange our gifts. And I was always so passionate about it. And I was working at a full-time job in Australia after I graduated, and I was just miserable because it was so boring. The fun that I wanted, the playfulness that I just dreamed of was not there. And I decided to become an entrepreneur because I saw an article about how to start a software company without an idea, without coding skills, and without any funding.
Wow.
I was like, I'm signing up for that. And that was my first company. So I signed up for this program that taught me how to start my first software company. And I think I was like 24. And I did that. And I got into the world of real estate, essentially, because I created a software app, essentially, for the real estate world. And I was still miserable. I'm like, oh, this is not what I want. This is not what I want. But I learned so much how to create something out of thin air, how to create a product, how to create customers without having a tangible product. It was just an idea, how to sell an idea and have people pay you for it. It's communication. And I realized, wow, I know how money works now. I know I can provide value to the marketplace, and then the marketplace pays me in money. Okay, because I never really understood how money worked. I'm like, how does that work? And so I wasn't passionate about real estate, so I left that and I sold that company. And then I decided that I wanted to focus on coaching because I was introduced to the coaching space, and so many coaches were transforming people's lives, but they just didn't know how to communicate their value. They were making it so complicated to understand. And I'm really good at simplifying things, making them simple and easy to understand. And so I decided to focus on the people who are changing the world, really one life at a time, and giving them the power to communicate their gifts in the most powerful way. And that's how I got into helping coaches with their marketing and elevating their prices, which is all about their belief in how much they deserve to earn.
Did you have a coach? How did you get into the world of coaching? Do you work with coaches?
Well, when I was doing I did work with coaches, but I got into the world of coaching because while I was building that company, we were getting coached. It was my first coaching program that I belonged to. And I didn't know what this was. And they were talking about mindset and limiting beliefs. And I'm like, what is this? What?
Yeah.
And I became an excellent student in it, and I started coaching people without realizing it. And so they invited me to come to America to speak at their event and talk about my transformation. And I remember feeling like I just want to coach all of you to success. Like I want to keep coaching, but the program was over. And I met a lot of coaches because the leader of that program knew a lot of coaches. And so he introduced me to the world of coaching here in San Diego. So I moved from Australia and I entered the world of entrepreneurship and coaching. And I left my car, my clothes, my furniture, everything. And I moved to America on my own all over again. And I left everything behind because I knew my heart was here.
How long ago was that?
That was in 2014.
So what happened? So you're here in America, you want to start a coaching business. Tell us what's happening.
And I'm like, how does this even work? I don't know. This is a brand new thing, right? And so, but I start helping my friends, people who are around me, right? Like they're coaches. And so I teach them how to build a landing page, how to write the words, how to clarify their offer. And little by little, I started helping them. I wasn't making a lot of money though. I became business partners with my roommate. And she was an amazing coach at the time. And we worked for 4 months on this coaching program for female entrepreneurs. And it was hard. It was our first ever program. 48 hours before the launch, she decided to call it off. And she said, I don't like it to be so hard. I like it to be easy and flowy. And I'm like, okay. And so it was super devastating because literally we hadn't made money for months. And I didn't know what to do. I thought this was going to be the money-making launch. Nothing happened. So I decided to work at a startup where we helped coaches and personal development brands launch their products online. And I could bring all my gifts and marketing there. And I worked behind the scenes of the launch of the movie Think and Grow Rich. I worked just with amazing, like Tony Robbins' business partner. And I learned so much about launches. And I learned all of that, but I was so burned out doing it for other people that I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. And I was so afraid to just be a coach, to decide I want to coach people, because one of my mentors had told me from that, from one of the mentorship program where I built a company from scratch. He told me one day, don't become a coach. They don't make money. You'll be broke. And so I was under the impression that I can't make money as a coach, so I won't, and I'll just keep being a consultant and being a funnel builder and doing all the complex things. And that got me into a deep depression because I was so unhappy. But I didn't know if I could make money as a coach. And then one day, after a year of like denying this calling, I had a voice in the shower, and the voice said, just expose 30 truths about yourself for 30 days. Share with the world who you are, your gifts, how you can help them, and be truthful. Come as you are. You don't have to pretend to be anyone. And I started this 30-day Expose Your Truth challenge just for myself.
What is that, exposing your truth?
So it was just coming online and sharing a post every single day.
Social media?
Social media. And because I didn't know how to attract clients other than the complicated ways to do funnels and ads and all the big things that work for big personal development companies. But if you don't have a budget, you can do it. So for a solopreneur, you have to express your message. You have to come to the online world and be fully self-expressed and make an impact. You have to let yourself be seen. I was so afraid of doing that, and to say I'm a coach, just claiming the identity was so scary. So I said, I am here, whether you like it or not. This is what I'm gonna be doing for the next 30 days. Those of you who like it, you will like it. Those of you who don't like it, you won't like it. And I just share for 30 days stories about myself, how I could help people, my marketing knowledge, everything.
What was like, give me like a little snapshot of what is something you post.
I basically share, day one was where I come from, who I am, that I am a little girl from Colombia who was abused when she was little by her mom because she thought that she had to be the best at everything she did. And since I was very little, I always thought that performing for love is the only way to get love. Being the A+ student, being the best in the room, being the most polished was the way to have love come to me from my mom, from a partner, from my clients, everywhere, from my friends. And I told the story that the only way that I've been able to let go of that perfectionist tendency is to accept myself where I'm at. And I invited everyone to reflect, where in your life are you performing for love? And that was day one. And every single day, I just shared a part of me. I just shared a part of me, of my story, the knowledge, my experience, what I believed about the marketing space, what I was tired of, and who I'm here to help. And by the end of those 30 days, my first 2 high-ticket clients, $15,000. At the time, it was a lot for me. Yeah. $15,000. I signed my first 2 high-ticket clients at the end of those 30 days without any funnels, any complexity, without any of the rules that the marketing world teaches you that you have to follow. It was just me sharing my heart and saying, here's who I'm here to help, here's what I believe in, here's what I don't believe in, who's coming. And that's the foundation of my business now. That is how it all started. It went viral, that challenge. People were like, I want to do it. And so I was like, okay, I'll create a guide to guide you through the 30 days. I didn't have a guide, but I'll create it. And now this is a challenge that over 3,000 people, over 7,000 people, actually, I just checked my email list today. Over 7,000 people have signed up for it, and it's gone viral.
So now that you're coaching and you're working with women,
Yeah.
tell us how do you get us to where you got to, where you were authentically sharing? What do you help women to do now in their businesses?
Well, the first thing that we do is we elevate our standards. And when I say that, I mean we elevate our standards for what we think we're available for in terms of the clients that we're available for, and also what we are available for thinking about ourselves. Because we don't question as women what we think it's real, what we know. And what I do with my clients at the core is we question everything. Do you really have to settle for clients who want to pay you very little and are very demanding? Is that what you're available for? Do you really want to settle for this income bracket that you're earning? Do you want to settle for this, or are you available to elevate? Because the elevation is possible. And so while I teach all the marketing strategies of how to attract clients, how to write copy that invites an empowered version of your client to buy from you, clients that are willing and ready to pay you, who are like, I'm obsessed, I love you, let's do this, like that type of client, I teach them how to do that practically, but that just won't work unless you know internally, this is what I want. This is what I'm available for. I'm not willing to settle for anything less. So I always ask my clients, what do you want? How much money do you want to make? How do you want to feel when you receive that money? What type of clients do you want to work with? And then they tell me. And then I ask them, why do you think you can't have it?
Yeah.
And then they tell me all the reasons. And those are all the reasons that we question. All the reasons internally, all the reasons externally. There's not enough people. For example, one of the main things we work on is the belief that my clients have around, there's just not enough people who want to pay me a lot of money. And what I always tell them is premium clients are everywhere. You just haven't been speaking to them. You've only been speaking to the people that you think don't have money. You've only been speaking to the people that you think can pay you. There's a lot of people that have a lot of money, that have, even if whatever they have, they're so willing and ready to invest it because you can help them. And so I help them shift the perspective that they're seeing the world through, so that they're able to really look for where the value is and look for how they can provide that value and be able to call in the people that are available to be in their world. So at the very core, what we do is we just elevate our standards for what we're available for.
I don't know. I'm now madly in love with that word elevate. It just sounds so perfect.
Yeah.
It sounds so perfect. Tell me about one of your favorite stories of women you've worked with.
So two of my favorite stories, I'll tell you two. One of my private clients, she came to me and she was working so hard, charging $35 per month for a membership site, working very hard, and she was making $6,000. And we started working together, and by the end of our year together, she had already hit $1 million, charging $15,000 per client.
It's a big jump.
Another one of my clients, she finished 2020, which was a really rough year, at $170,000. And when we started working together, she just finished her year at $1 million, her first $1 million year. Working less, charging so much more. Now she's charging $30,000. And these are women that are very different. They're like, one of them likes to live in the woods. Like she has a cabin, she has her dogs. She's very normal, next door, relaxed lady, right? She doesn't have kids. My other client, she has kids. And she's all up in the social medias and she loves it, and she's an influencer and she loves that. And so what I want to offer is that you don't have to be a certain type of person. You can be you. You can literally be your own authentic essence. When you just be more of who you are, people become magnetized to you because you're giving them permission to believe something that they didn't believe before, that there's a possibility that's available for them that you can create possible for them as a coach. So it's not about becoming somebody that you're not. It's about being more of who you are.
Love.
Yeah.
I feel like you have something more to share to tell women.
Yes. Oh, yes. Some people might look at me and think, wow, that seems impossible. There's no way that I could get there, but maybe one day. And I remember being, not long ago, only 3 years ago, feeling the same way. Like just 3 years ago. thinking it's gonna take me many years. I knew that at one day I'll be a millionaire, but I thought I'll be a millionaire by 50 or 60, who knows? And the reason why I've been able to collapse the timeline, and that's what I'm an expert at, helping my clients collapse the timeline to their results, is because it's not about chasing the number, chasing the money, chasing the milestone, because that's always gonna put you in this position where you're always gonna feel like the next milestone is gonna feel even better and better and better. And the reason why I've been able to shortcut that timeline is because I chose to love myself when I was making $0 a month. And I started making 10, and I chose to love myself. I chose to love myself when I was making $100,000 a month. And I said, no matter what, I'm gonna love on you. You don't have to perform for love. It's done. Yeah. You don't have to perform for love anymore. I know that was what happened when you were little, but that's enough. I'm here to love on you, and whether you make $100,000 a month or $1 a month, I'm gonna love you the same, unconditionally. Let's have fun. This gets to be fun. This gets to be delightful. This gets to be delicious. We don't have to sacrifice anymore because I'm not sacrificing you. So I'm not gonna put any conditions on you. That collapses the timeline because you lose the pressure, you let go of all of the shoulds, you let go of having to do it because it's cool, because your friend did it, so now you wanna do it, and you start actually living in full appreciation and respect of yourself. And that is how you are actually in the presence of abundance. You can be in the presence of money, but not being in the presence of abundance.
Yes. Yes.
When you love, appreciate, and have respect for yourself, you are actually in the presence of abundance. And when you're in the presence of abundance, when you are abundant, money just can't, it's impossible for it to elude you, to miss you. So it's about being in an abundant state by loving and appreciating where you're at today. If you have $10 in your bank account, can you love and appreciate yourself? If you have $10,000, can you love and appreciate that? Don't look at, I should have $1 million. The way to get to the $1 million and the multiple millions while feeling good is by loving and appreciating who you are today and what you have exactly as it is.
You are wise and tuned in, and I think we needed to hear that. Thank you. So when I tell you the series is called The Millionaire Within Her, what does that make you want to say to everyone?
Every woman on this planet has a millionaire within her. Every single one. I know because I remember when I felt like I didn't, when I felt like it was for the lucky few. And now that I am one, and I'm surrounded by so many of them, in my clients and my friends, there's no reason why everyone in this planet, every woman in this planet shouldn't be one.
You are so great. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming. I so appreciate you. Thank you so much for showing up.
My pleasure. It was so good. Thank you for having me.
From humble beginnings to Instagram star, I hope you learned all the lessons and will rewatch this one again and again. Aside from the Australian accent, there's a bunch of stuff you get with Natalie that makes her fun to watch. Speaking of watching her, she's the co-creator of the personal development tool called Mind Movies. Natalie makes the law of attraction come alive before your eyes. And here's Natalie. Natalie, it's so exciting. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for having us in your beautiful home.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here.
I know. It's exciting to talk to you.
Yeah.
Tell me your story and how you started in business.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I actually grew up in a country town in Australia, one of 8 children. So I come from very humble beginnings.
Where are you in the 8?
I am third youngest
Oh.
in the 8. And so, my growing up in a country town like that was fun, and growing up in a big family was fun, although the town was not big enough for me. And as soon as I was 18 and old enough, I had to get the hell out of there. And I moved to Sydney, which is the big city near me. And so I started managing fitness clubs when I was 21 years old. And I didn't really know what I was doing. I just talked my way into this job because I'm thinking, I think I could figure this out. This will be okay. But I had spent 11 years working in the fitness industry, which was my first career. And I learned everything about business that I needed to know. I worked for the best in the industry. And so by the time I met my husband, and our first business that we had together was a nightclub, which was far removed from the fitness industry I was used to, but it's a service industry. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the techniques and things that I'd learned in fitness, I was able to apply to that. And so through my 30s, my husband and I had a multitude of businesses, about 20 different businesses together, from health foods to coffee franchises to, bathroom advertising, like you name it, we were into everything. But we were always, doing all these businesses. Action was never a problem for us, but I felt like we were a car up on a jack and the wheels are spinning, but we weren't getting anywhere. And I remember in 2006, I had this monumental moment of frustration. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, we're working so hard, but why are we still struggling financially? I'm like, I'm missing a piece of information here. And when I was 21, one of my bosses in fitness gave me a set of cassettes by Brian Tracy. So I was introduced to, Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and all those guys in my 20s. So I knew how to set goals. I knew how to, to put a plan together. So after I'm like, okay, I've got to figure out what I'm missing here. A friend suggested that I order a DVD online, which was called The Secret. And it spoke about the law of attraction. And I think one of the biggest takeaways I got from that movie was that I didn't need to know the entire plan on how to be able to set a goal. Like, I would set achievable goals because I had to see every single step in my mind. But I didn't realize that as long as I was very clear about where I wanted to end up, and I could see myself already there and feel the emotions of what it was like to already be there, and then add that to the action that we were already taking, then everything that I needed to make it happen would fall into place for me. And that was a huge lesson. I'm like, oh, this is the piece that I'm missing.
Wait, so let me stop you there. Previously, how were you setting your goals? How would you act?
Well, previously, I would set a goal that I knew that I could achieve. Mm-hmm. So they were safe.
Okay.
They were small. They weren't ridiculous. They weren't audacious. They weren't huge. And the quantum leaps that we made, or that I made in success, went from, okay, before we were just, we were very good business people. We knew how to run a business well and how to do it successfully. But it wasn't until we added this other element of really being able to visualize and believe and set goals and clear some of our old programming that we actually had massive success. And with mind movies.
Wait, let me stop you.
Okay.
What is mind movies? And tell me what that is.
Yeah, so a mind movie is basically a vision board. It's a visualization tool. So back in 2006, when I'm like, I need to visualize, I found it really difficult to do that. And a friend of ours came to Glenn and I with this little movie that he created, which was PowerPoint slides with affirmations, with photos, and then music. So it was his version of a vision board. And I'm like, this is so cool. And he came to us with the idea of setting up a website and a business online. Now, you have to appreciate that at the time, Glenn and I had 4 businesses that we were running. So we had no time, and we knew nothing about the internet. And by that, I mean that Glenn could hardly turn on a computer. And I had never even heard of YouTube or, Facebook or any kind of social media. We had a computer, but I only used it for bookkeeping. We spent no time on the internet. So that's where we started, with this brilliant idea, because The Secret had just been on Oprah and everyone was talking about visualizing and the law of attraction. And I'm like, okay, so we started with putting one little video on YouTube. And within months, we had so many emails from people saying, this is changing my life. Like, all right, boys, come on. We need to pay attention here. Like, how do we figure out this internet marketing thing?
What was the first video about? What was it?
Well, it was a marketing video. So it was our business partner, and we were talking about the law of attraction and how to, be able to visualize and how to make it easy through creating this movie for yourself. So that was the initial video. And I don't know how many millions of views we had on that thing. But because, and that with the advice that we got in the beginning, it's like, okay, copy the same keywords from the most popular video about the secret and put that on your video. And that's, in the beginning, I still am like, wait a minute, there's 1 billion videos on YouTube. How are they finding this one? I don't get it. But, after a while, we sort of started to learn. We came over to the US. We attended an internet marketing seminar. We were accepted into a mastermind at the time, which was one of the smartest things we did, because we were surrounding ourselves with the right people who were knowledgeable, who could give us great advice, fantastic support. And then we proceeded for 6 months just to work like 10 hours a day from the bedrooms in our little apartment in San Diego, just working on building the websites. And we were so far outside of our comfort zone. Like I was 40 years old at the time, and I'm trying to learn we're building websites and writing emails and all these things that I never had done before. But we were over here really on credit cards. By the time we got to the launch, which was in September 2008, I mean, when the economic crisis hit the planet, we had no idea what was going on. We had accumulated $120,000 on credit cards. We'd risked everything. And so it could have gone either way. And we didn't realize until the morning of the launch, it's like, oh my God, what does this mean?
Wait, and stop and tell us what the launch is. Tell us more about what Mind Movies is.
Our product or our program back then was, instructional videos on how to create these videos for themselves. So people get clear about, the kind of wealth that they want, and not just what the wealth is, but what wealth looks like and why they want to create that. And then any kind of actions they're taking and how they need to change the way they think. And when they can describe this through affirmations with matching photos, and then, of course, the music is the secret sauce. The music is the soundtrack to your life. And to the life that you're creating. And it becomes an anchor for you. So every time you hear that song, you don't need to be in front of your mind movie to go there in your mind. It takes you there. Your brain starts to populate already. So this is, the mind movie's essence. And so back then it was, the instructions. So a launch, like an online launch, is basically a week beforehand where you have a whole ton of affiliates or joint venture partners who are promoting you to their email lists. Now, we started with 8,000 people on our list. It was very small. But at the end of that initial week, it had blown out to 80,000 people. Actually, so fast that the email delivery company that was, servicing our list shut down our account because they thought we were doing something illegal. I'm like, and they also closed down the morning of the launch for maintenance. So we had 3,000 customer support emails by lunchtime on the first day because no one was getting their confirmation emails. But, we had a little moment of stress and going, what does this mean? So once we opened up the payment gateway, we did $100,000 in the first hour.
Huge success.
Huge.
So going back to Mind Movies and why it's so valuable, thank you so much for your gift. I got to play with my own Mind Movie. And let me just tell you, do you know how long I've been craving setting something up visually? But it seems so hard online getting your whole slideshow, plus the music, plus the affirmations. It was just daunting. So you gave me this gift, and I think within 10 minutes, I created something. And I have chills because it was so easy and so fun. You've made it so user-friendly, and it gives me ideas. And now I have my own Mind Movie.
That's so good.
Yes.
I know, well, initially it was just little video tutorials, but then, once we got some success, we created our own software. So inside are all of the assets. There's a whole library of affirmations and photos and music, so you can just drag and drop. And I've had the immense pleasure of being able to help people personally create their own mind movies. I work a lot with Dr. Joe Dispenza, so he's been using mind movies in his live workshops for 8 years now. And so I'll be at these events and helping people make their mind movie. And, like you said, once they've created it and they watch it for the first time, tears is normally the initial reaction, because it's like, wow, I can actually see this now.
And it's so easy. You've taken the stress out of it, and you see your vision. And then what you said, I didn't realize it until you said it. The music adds that dimension. And then isn't there subliminal things in there you've added too?
Yeah. So we have, we have a lot of technology
Yeah.
when it comes to little hacks, little tools, little things that make it just a little bit more effective for you. And so, we have a whole library of like subliminal tracks that actually get laced in underneath the music. So these are all affirmations that you don't consciously hear, but subconsciously your brain is absorbing all of that and reprogramming your subconscious mind at a much faster pace.
So tell me some of your favorite stories of people who've used mind movies and had great success.
I remember this one lady came in to the workshop. She sits down like this. And I said to my team, I said, I'll look after this one. And I go, what can I do for you? She goes, look, I'm only here because Dr. Joe said I had to be here and I don't have a computer and I haven't started and I'm not very technical. And I go, it's okay, it's all right. So I loaned her my computer and kind of set her up. And then at the end, I'm like, okay, well, do you want us to preview it before we send it to the processor? She goes, okay. And we previewed it and she had tears falling down her face. She goes, oh my God. She goes, this is my life. This is the life I want. I go, yep. But it's a common response when people are, creating their mind movies and they get to watch it for the first time. And I've had the blessing of being in the presence of thousands of people when they're having that experience. It's crazy. Even inside his events, he'll have 1,500, 2,000 people. And he gets people to watch this kaleidoscope that gets them into suggestible mind. And then they're watching their mind movie. And I remember the first time, everyone, it's black, and all you can see is everyone's faces lit up from whatever their device is, and you can hear people crying in the audience. It's wild.
It's magical.
Yeah, it is.
And you did it. You created it.
I still make mind movies now.
Okay, let's hear about yours.
Okay, so last year, so at the beginning of every year, I create a general mind movie of all the things I want to do for the year. But then I'll create one that's more specific to each project. And so last year I created one about, my school project, and I got my first US school, starting to teach the program. So it came into fruition. So you want to hear about the program?
Sure.
Yeah. So it's called Personal Growth Studies. It's a social emotional learning curriculum to help kids from K to 12 have the skills and the tools that they need to be able to deal with the overwhelm. And of course, after a year like 2020, kids are really needing these tools a lot more than before.
Yes.
So we already have that being taught in one school. The other one was on my health. And so I have already lost, I actually had put on the COVID-15, which is the 15 pounds you put on during COVID.
Yes.
But I've been able to lose that weight, and I'm definitely a lot more fit and healthier than I've been before.
And let me back up. You created mind movies in all of these areas.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So keep telling us.
And then the last one was around love. And I met my perfect partner last year.
Wait, tell me details. tell me what you put on the mind movie and tell me what happened.
Yeah, so with my mind movie for love, the song I used was All of Me by John Legend. It's one of my favorite love songs. But in my mind movie, I describe how I show up in relationship. I describe the characteristics that I'm looking for in my partner, then I'm describing the relationship that we have. And so, there were some pretty big things on there, like, having time and money freedom, being open to personal development. It was pretty specific about a number of things. And I've been in this beautiful, incredible relationship for 5 months now, and I'm very, very happy.
Well, I've met him, and when I first came in, I thought you two had been together for 20 years for sure. Right. But let me also say, this is during COVID, and dating is not easy. So your dream came in even in hard circumstances.
This is the beauty of being able to put together or to implement a system of manifestation. When you know what that system is, you know that formula, it doesn't matter what's happening around you. It doesn't matter what's happening economically, or if there's a pandemic or whatever is going on in with the government. It makes no difference, because we get to create our own reality.
Tell us more about that. What does that mean? Teach us how that works.
Yeah, so I actually have a 6-step formula on how to create anything that you want. And the first step starts with, our energy. I call it being in your happy place. Because unless we're in a positive or a higher frequency emotion, then it's difficult for us to be able to see past the pain or the debt or the loneliness that we're in. We need to get to a higher frequency. What we understand is that, with the law of attraction, we need to be a vibrational match to the things that we want to attract to make it happen. And the way that we change our vibration is through the emotions that we feel. So higher frequency emotions are things like gratitude or love or joy or pride or accomplishment or courage, these higher frequencies. And the more that we can hang out in those higher frequencies, the more in flow we are and the easier things are. And, the more positive outcomes we can see. We can see solutions. We start to notice all the things that we need to make our reality true because we're, in that higher frequency. So gratitude is one of the easiest ways to get there. And if you don't have a gratitude practice, I highly recommend that you start writing in a journal, or at least have one thing that you do every day. For me, it's taking my little dog for a walk. That's my activity where I drop into my gratefuls and make sure I'm, in that higher frequency. Then step 2 is to set an intention. And this is kind of like a line in the sand. This is like, no matter what, this is happening. No matter what, I am in a loving relationship, or no matter what, I'm earning $10,000 a month, or whatever that is. And I recite that to myself, looking at myself in the eyes in the mirror each morning for at least a week. And I want to say that with so much conviction and so much resolve that even I believe it's going to happen.
What if you don't believe it's going to happen?
Well, then I go to the next step, which is step number 3, which is to really get clear about what it is that you want.
Okay.
And I do that through writing out affirmations, because affirmations are using the language that I want to use. Like, I wouldn't say I want to be debt-free, because every word in that sentence is conjuring up a picture in our mind. This is how our brains work. And so if I hear the word debt or see the word debt, it's just taking me back to that moment in 2006 where I'm like, what's going on? So for me, it's like, I want to make sure that every word is describing exactly what it is that I do want. I want to be financially free. I want to be financially abundant. So I talk about what it is that I want. I talk about what life looks like now that I have it, because this is going to fuel our visualizations. I talk about why I want it, because if I'm going to get stuck and hit a hurdle like we all do, this is what's going to keep me motivated to keep moving forward. I talk about any kind of actions, or changes to my daily practice. But then the last one, which is actually really important, is how do I need to change the way I think to become this wealthy person, or this loving person, or this healthy person? Because the good news and the bad news is that our thoughts create our reality. So if we have a reality right now that we're not completely happy with, the good news is that your thoughts created it. All we need to do is change our thoughts. So when we can be purposeful about thinking, well, how does a wealthy person think? How does a person that has a great relationship with food think, and then write those out and then see ourselves, already operating from those thought paradigms, and how it influences positively the outcomes that we create in our life as well. So that's step number 3.
Okay, give me an example of what you would say to yourself in the mirror, and then let's use money for an example. Like, what would a wealthy person think? Give me more concrete examples.
Oh, great. Okay. So I know that a wealthy person is not being thrown off kilter every time an invoice or a bill comes in the mail. I know that a wealthy person either has those on automatic payment or is grateful for the fact that they have electricity or that they have a phone that they can communicate with their families with. So, being grateful for things, money coming in, being grateful for money going out. Super important. When they are faced with an issue, they're not thinking, well, how am I going to make enough money to get to the end of the week? They're like, well, how am I going to invest for my future? How am I looking at the long-term effect of how I'm spending my money and how I'm earning my money? So it's, there's these subtle shifts, but you just go, these make the world of difference. Because if we want to resonate and vibrate at the frequency of someone who's wealthy, we need to be wealthy first. We need to think like a wealthy person. We need to act like a wealthy person. Now, it doesn't mean spending money that you don't have, but it definitely means things like, being generous with tips, leaving extra coins in the parking meter, being generous with your time, being generous with your energy, being generous with, random acts of kindness. Because whenever you are acting from a place of generosity like that, you're basically signaling to yourself and the universe that you live in an abundant universe. And the thing is, it's not that you just know that, through acknowledging it, but you're embodying it. And then you're resonating at a whole different frequency.
Okay, so that's step number 3.
Number 3. Step number 4 is our visualizations. Now, if we can't see ourselves already in this future, then it's very difficult for us to create that. So a mind movie or a vision board or even just a list of affirmations is going to help to give your brain a place to start. Now, through Dr. Joe Dispenza, one of the ways that he teaches to visualize, which I love, is that rather than seeing yourself as a character in a movie, you actually put yourself in the scene. Now, there was a woman in Australia who was doing this at one of these events. And so, we're watching our mind movie, then we're going into a meditation, and then we're choosing one scene from our mind movie. So one moment. So think of a moment of like when you're wealthy, what does that mean to you? And then put yourself in that moment. But
Where's that one picture? Like you capture it in your mind.
That's right. But you're in the scene. What are you smelling? What are you tasting? And this woman, her and her husband had been struggling financially. They'd put their house on the market to try and, shift some of the debt. But they had no offers. And this is after a month. And so at the event, when she went to do this exercise, she's in her living room. She can feel the pen in her hand. She sees herself signing the contract. She can smell the real estate agent's aftershave. And she can feel the bubbles of the champagne on her nose and taste the champagne because she's celebrating. She is so in that scene. And when you do that, your subconscious mind doesn't realize that that's not happening in this moment. It doesn't know the difference between what we see through our eyes and what we play as this very vivid event. And so the more often you can do that, what's happening is that we're starting to create these new neural pathways in our brains that has thoughts traveling along them that are in alignment with the visualization that we're doing. So, and most people think, well, do I have to be sitting down, carve out some time, be in the meditation position to visualize? That's not the case. I mean, you could be vacuuming the house. You could be driving the car. You could be doing anything.
Singing, whatever.
Exactly. That doesn't take a lot of mental effort. And I call it daydreaming with intention. And the more often that you can go there, what happens is it starts to change your thoughts. And thoughts will automatically start to change your actions. So when your thoughts, actions, and emotions are all in alignment with this future that you want to create, you are a vibrating beacon for everything that you need to make it happen.
It's so exciting. Okay, tell us the next step.
Okay, so the next step is taking action. Doesn't matter what kind of action you take, all action is going to lead you to where you need to go. So don't worry about that. So just start taking some kind of action.
Oh, why? Why does just anything just take one step into what you think?
Yeah, like for example, before our friend came to us with the idea of mind movies, we were involved in a network marketing business. Now, I was convinced that business was going to be the business that would help to give us the lifestyle that we wanted. And so when, our Ryan came along, our friend came along with this idea of mind movies, I remember a year later looking at this list of affirmations I'd written out about the other business and going, wow, I created that through mind movies. And if someone had to come to me a day before our friend came to us with the idea and said, you're going to have this life and better, and you're going to do it through the internet, I would have laughed. I'm like, there's no way. I don't know anything about the internet. But the thing is, we met Ryan through the network marketing business. So it's everything is breadcrumbs. Everything will lead you to something else, especially if you're open and you're being aware of everything that's coming into your peripheral. So you don't have to have your ducks in a row. You don't have to have a plan laid out. You just need to know what the next step is. What is the first step? And then what's the next step after that? And that's how you overcome the mountain.
Okay, go over the steps again and then remind us again that anything is possible. It means anything is possible?
Anything. Honestly, anything. Anything that we put our mind to. Now, the more often that you go through these steps, what you're doing is you see belief and expectation are two of the most important ingredients when it comes to manifesting what you want. And when you repetitively are doing these steps, it is building your belief, especially if you're acknowledging all of the things that went right, all of the things that fell into place. Like there are so many things that fell into place for us to create mind movies that we could never have planned for. So, acknowledging those things as they come along, what it's doing, it's building this evidence so that you know that without a shadow of a doubt that what you put your mind to and that you're taking action towards, you are able to be able to create. So first step is be in your happy place.
Okay.
Then set your intention. Get clear about what you want. do your visualizations, take your action. Now the last step, which is the hard one. It's taken me years to be able to master this, and that is surrender. We have to surrender into knowing that everything's happening in divine timing exactly when it's supposed to. It may not look the way that we want it to, and may not happen the way that we think it's going to, but everything that's happening is happening for our highest good. And the more that we can embody that and live from that, when something comes along like a pandemic or a breakup or a business failing, it doesn't knock us off course. It doesn't derail us. It's like, oh, okay, this is not what I planned. This is interesting. I wonder what I'm meant to learn from this. Now, by doing that, you are looking for the positive. You are staying in your higher frequencies, and you're not losing the opportunity. Because if something keeps showing up for us in our life, there's the same kind of mistake or the same kind of event, then it's like, okay, I really need to take a look at this because there's something that I'm missing. There's something that this is meant to teach me so that I can move on to the next level.
I've had so many experiences of that, and I love the way you're approaching it. And it's kind of, I've switched it lately to thank you for that lesson. Thank you for letting me see it so I can grow from it. And it's helped dramatically.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you get scared, and do you have lessons still?
Yes, the answer is yes. And I think for anyone who shoots for something huge and audacious, that fear is always going to be a part of that process. I think the difference between people who are successful and those who are still on their way to success is that we all feel fear when we think about that bigger goal, but successful people don't stay there. We keep moving forward. We keep moving through it because we understand it's part of the process. You know, like the personal growth studies. You know, I have this audacious goal of being able to implement a social emotional learning curriculum into schools around the world. Like, not just, a couple of schools here and there. Like, this is a huge project that I've taken on. And, it did scare the bejesus out of me in the beginning, I have to be honest with you. And I still have moments on that journey where I go, this is too hard. What am I doing? But I stay the course. And I live and keep seeing myself at that end result. Speaking at the UN or being in a classroom where children are just smiling and laughing and pulling on my clothes, and I'm speaking to a teacher and she has tears. It's like it's made a massive difference to these kids. Because sometimes children just need one person to tell them that they believe in them and that they're amazing, and it can make the world of difference for them. So yeah, fear is definitely a part of the process. You just don't want to hang out there. It's not a great place to hang out.
I love it. I have chills on your vision. I can feel it. It's so exciting. What do you want us to know? If there's someone at home who needs to hear what you want to tell them, what should she know?
Well, I think what holds us back, especially women, all of us, but women especially, is that we get to a certain part in our life where we've been a mother, we've, been a wife, we've, been in different businesses and careers. We've done some, we've lived life, we've had some experience. And when you get to the ages of like 40 and 50, we get to this place where we have all this wisdom. We have this great perception. And we can access all of these superpowers, these gifts. And I think for some of us, some women think, well, if I'm 50, then that's it. The game's over. But this is just when life gets juicy. This is just when we are really well equipped to be able to step into a career or a business that is purposeful and that is meaningful and that can be of service. We are in the best time of our lives to do that. And so, we don't want to play small. Now is the time for us to really step up. When we're looking at all the different industries that are coming in now, AI, like technology, women, we need a seat at the table. We need to have an influence here. We need to have a voice here because we bring to the table something different to men. We can work by collaboration. We can see how we can serve the community at large rather than being self-serving. And I'm not saying that all men are self-serving, but this is the paradigm of business that we want to be moving into. And I think that women are really a great way to be able to carry that flag.
I've been thinking of you, and it's like you're teaching us to dream again. Like you're teaching us it's not scary, it's the way. That's the path to get what you want.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, we really can create anything that we want. And it's actionable steps. It's one step at a time. And I think sometimes we'll get caught up in the little voice that we have in the back of our mind, our limiting beliefs, our programming, our sabotaging behaviors. But we can move through those as well. When we understand where they come from and be able to release those and get to a place of awareness and then forgiveness, and then going, okay, well, if I'm releasing these, what am I choosing to think instead? How am I acting differently? And making a conscious choice to do that, then normally we are the bottleneck. And I know that whenever I've been stuck in life, I'm the one that's the bottleneck. I'm the one that's holding back. And I'm like, okay, well, this is a great opportunity for me to understand what that is, be able to release and clear that so that I can move forward in a more empowered way and serve the way that I want to.
When you hear the millionaire within her, what does it make you think of?
It makes me feel of abundance, but abundance not just of money, because money in itself is great, but it's a means to an end. Money is what gives us the ability to serve more, to reach more people, to be able to really positively influence the people that we love. Money is just a means to be able to do that. And when we can get really clear about, what money means to us and what that represents, then that's what gives us the fuel to be able to look at $1 million and go, oh, $1 million. We could blast past $1 million. That's not a lot of money. And when we can be comfortable in feeling that and knowing that, then we have the ability to create so much abundance of everything that we want in our lives.
You are an angel. I can't wait to play my mind movie over and over. It gives me chills. It makes me happy. It's a special gift. So thank you so much for teaching us, for letting us dream again. Since I was a kid, I'm back into my dreams. So thank you so much.
Thank you, darling.
Did you start your own mind movie? I learned so much about the power of the mind and how to use the magic of my own mind movie to help me move forward. Allison Prince started 10 years ago with a hope to help her family have the money to just do a little bit more. Well, to put it mildly, it grew beyond her wildest dreams. Since then, she's equipped more than 6,000 women to get out of debt, start their own business, and make more money to help their family. When you're done watching this interview with Allison, you'll see more possibilities for yourself. And now, Allison Prince. Hi, Allison. It's so nice to see you here. Thank you so much for coming.
I am so excited to be here.
I'm so excited you're here. I can't even explain how excited. So let's start off. Tell me about you. Tell me your journey.
All right, you ready for this?
Yes.
Because if I didn't live it, I don't know if I would believe it. So I started off as a junior high school teacher. Yay!
School teachers.
I know, I have so much love and respect for school teachers everywhere. And I worked super hard, worked my first month, they handed me my first paycheck, and I also saw that I qualified for government assistance. And I was like, wait, what? No. Wow. I was told that if I went to college, got a degree, I would have financial security. And government assistance and financial security.
Having a job.
Yeah.
And I needed government assistance.
Yes. I'm like, wait, I've been lied to. I've been lied to. This is crazy. So I started another job at night. I started a tutoring business. And about 2 months into it, I looked at my life and I said, I don't want to live like this. I have a baby at home. My husband was going to school full time. And I was working 10, 12, 15 hours a day to be able to just put food on our table because we were poor college kids, right? And I just right out of college. And I said, this isn't it. And so I went to the local library because I didn't even have a phone. And I checked out like the entrepreneur magazines and the business magazines. And I found out that people could pay for food, their mortgage, their cars by becoming an entrepreneur. And I'm like, all right, I got to figure this out. And I didn't know how to spell it. So every time I had to spell check the dang word, And so I dug in and I started playing around with it, and something clicked. So a few years later, I had 4 kids at my feet, and I'm like, all right, I've got to figure something out, but what can I do with 4 kids? Because 4 kids is a lot, right? And something about an online store, setting up an online store, e-commerce. Now, when I first started, I didn't even know what e-commerce was. I thought that word was so ugly. I'm just going to put it up over here and totally ignore that word because that's ugly. I wanted to start an online store. But everything I read said that you had to have a lot of inventory and a lot of money, and I didn't have either. And so I looked around my house, and I found something that was headed to the trash can, and I said, I'm going to try and sell this. I'm going to see if this will work. So I put it up online, and I remember I was down in my office, which is like a bedroom, right? And a little tiny computer in the side.
Office,
Yeah.
yes.
And I'm nursing my baby, typing one-handed, and I hit publish. And I'm like, all right, we'll see what happens. And the first product was vinyl lettering. And do you know what that is? Ever heard of that stuff?
Tell me what it is.
It's like black sticky paper that you can cut out. I didn't even have a cutter to cut it out. So I just cut it into strips. So it was basically a large piece of tape is what I was selling. And I walk upstairs because I hear the rumbling of my toddler to start the whole breakfast routine. And my husband comes around the corner and he's like, what is that dinging sound? And I'm like, I don't know. They're boys and some toy malfunctioning, right? So he goes off to investigate, and he comes whipping around the corner and he's like, Allison, those dings, are you making sales online? And it was at that moment, I clearly remember it, that my body experienced every single emotion possible because I had just proved that it worked. All these stories that I've heard about people making money online, I just did it.
Wait. I have chills. That is so big.
It is.
It is so huge.
And then I went from, oh my gosh, this works, to, I'm so mad. Why didn't I do this sooner? What was my holdup? Why was I waiting for so long to do this? And so I grabbed the baby, grabbed the toddler. We have this huge dance party in the kitchen. You know I'm a big fan
Dance party.
of dance parties, especially in the kitchen. We're screaming around the house. The other 2 girls wake up out of bed and they're like, what is going on? And I made $200 to $300 that very first sale. And to me, that was like I had won the lottery. It was better than winning the lottery because I just realized that I could make money. I didn't have to have a boss telling me, you have to be there from 9 to 5. You have to wear this. You have to do this. No, I figured I proved to myself that I could do this. And it was so empowering. And it was only $200 to $300, but to me, that just opened up the window. And then I realized I sold out because it was literally like trash. I didn't have any more. So the next day I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta go find another product. So I went downstairs to the birthday bin of leftover birthday shenanigans, right? And I found these Gable boxes. And Gable boxes, they hold cookies for like little treats. And so I put those up online and I didn't sell any. And then the third day I put up another thing and I didn't sell. And I was like, all right, that was fun. I made $200, $300. I guess that was it. And I remember I was sitting in the garage with my husband, unpacking the car, and I had the most clear thought come into my head. And it said, Allison, I just showed you how to do it. How dare you quit?
Oh.
And it was at that point, and I believe it was God. And so whether you believe in God, universe, higher power, whatever it is, someone looking out for you, God spoke so clear to my heart and said, you can't stop. I just showed you it works. Don't stop. Don't stop. And so that next day I got up super early again because I had to get up early because I had kids, school, breakfast routine, everything. My husband was going to school or going to work at this point. And that 4th day I sold out again. And so it was like God, universe, whatever you believe in is like, here's the little glitter. Go get the glitter. It's there. It's there. And I've learned that God wants us to have money because he knows we're going to do good things with it. He knows we're going to give money to our neighbors that are sick. And like at the time, it wasn't like it was poverty. Like we had enough food to put on our table, but we didn't have enough money to put food on other people's table. And as human beings, we want to give. We're supposed to serve. And you have to have money to serve. Because if you've been to the grocery store lately, you know making dinner for your sick neighbor costs a lot of money. And so I believe God's like, please, we've given you, you've got phones, you've got stuff in your house that you can sell. You don't have to have these complicated things to make money so that you can serve. And even if it's serving by going to the local shelter, you have to have transportation to get there.
Yeah.
That's gasoline, that's car, that's a bus pass. It takes money. And so God is just like, please make money, because he trusts us to do such good things with it.
What you're saying is so big for us to know and talk about. And it sounds like you were shown the way, and that like this opening that you just kept stepping through, and money is here to support you, and God is here to support you, and you just kept doing it. Were you afraid though? Were you scared?
Still today, even before this interview, I'm in the bathroom saying a prayer because at that time when he was like, Allison, I just showed you this. I just showed you it's possible. I decided at that moment to make him my business partner because I need him. I feel I'm a mom of 4. I'm lucky to put on makeup, do my hair, running around, right? I was a junior high school teacher. I don't feel super brilliant, but with God by my side, he shows me things that I wouldn't have ever thought of. And the best thing is he knows me so much that he'll only give me a half a step at a time. So when I started 10 years ago, if he would have said, this is what your vision is in 10 years, I would have said, no, thanks. I just want to eat chocolate and go watch Netflix. I'm done.
It's really scary out there.
It is.
Yeah.
And so he's like, all you have to do is hit the publish button, Allison. All you have to do is sell trash. All you have to do is just one little thing, and then I'm going to open up another half step for you. He doesn't even trust me with a full step, and that's okay.
No.
Because he knows me better than I do. And like I said, the universe, like whatever you believe in, they guide you and they help you to get to your goals because they know our heart of service. They know our heart of we are human beings and we see people in need, and in the back of our minds we're like, what can we do to help?
Right.
And if we have money to be able to create the help to lighten someone's load. I remember my husband this summer, we live in Puerto Rico, which is really fun, and a big hurricane came through and destroyed the islands, the Bahamas. Just took everything out in the Bahamas. And my husband comes and he's like, hey, Allison, I just bought a bunch of mattresses, so if you see it on the credit card, you'll know what it is. And I'm like, mattresses? We have mattresses. What? And he said, there's a family out there of 6. Their house is completely gone, and they've been sleeping on the concrete slabs. There's a boat going over. I just heard about it, and so I just hurried and got mattresses on that. And I was like, that's so cool. First off, that he found that, right? And a second, that we were able to provide mattresses for that, especially that mom who's had 4 babies. If I slept on the concrete floor, I wouldn't be able to walk for 3 days. And I didn't have to go say, okay, wait, we need to arrange the budget. All right, we need to eat beans and rice this week so that we can do that. It was like, okay, we got it. We budget out a certain amount to be able to give for things like that, because everybody has crap time. Everybody has junk time where they just need a little bit of help. And I just look at like these little small things that are there, and entrepreneurship, starting that, being able to start your own business and having control and saying, you know what, I'm going to do this with my money. I'm going to impact this woman's life so that she can get a good night's sleep, so she can be a better mom. Like, to me, that's what it's all about. It doesn't need to be glitz and glamour and big, huge things. It's the little tiny things that can add up. And when you have a business, yay, you can control that.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it's a lesson women need to hear more and more, that it's beautiful to step into owning your own business and being an entrepreneur. It's beautiful. It's to serve, it's to love, it's to share, it's to make money and celebrate yourself and grow. And as you said, having the trust and knowing that you are being supported and being called to something bigger.
The word.
But
word of the year.
I could talk to you for days, because what you're saying is so special and so needed. But I want to know a little more about your journey when you you said you stepped into it and God said, please do not quit. What happened and where did you grow your business? And I want to hear a little more about that.
Okay, so I brought some show and tell. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, a block of wood right here. So this represents so much about business building. This was one of the products that I sold. So I found this long stick of wood back behind the shed of our home, which a future owner had put it there and just left it there. And I went and I grabbed it and I chopped it into these little tiny blocks of wood. And I'm taking pictures of them to post online. And my neighbor comes around the corner and he's like, Allison, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm going to sell blocks of wood. And I was so excited.
Wait, I have to stop you. Where did this idea, do you get these downloads of like, this sounds good?
I'll tell you where.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where.
Okay.
Because you don't have to be creative. Yeah, just hang on.
Okay, good.
Because it's so good, because it's provided for everybody. You don't have to be creative. So anyways, I'm cutting up these blocks of wood, and he comes over, and he looks at me, and he's like, you're going to sell trash? And I was like, oh, wait, is this product idea good enough? And then tons of self-doubt start coming into your head, right?
Right.
Oh my gosh, maybe this is trash.
Nobody's going to buy it. It's stupid.
Yeah. And I said, you know what? I don't have time for those thoughts. Just go sit over in timeout for a second. I got to hurry and get a product up. Put the product up. We ended up selling enough to pay off my entire minivan at the time in naked blocks of wood. And that people are like, how did you do that? I'm not creative. I'm not either. We have Pinterest. God gave us Pinterest. So we go over there, and I literally sold these blocks of wood, and then I showed what you can do with the blocks of wood. So one of the things was, imagine making a countdown, a little advent calendar, and chubby little toddler fingers like turning down in anticipation for Santa Claus to arrive. Or you take a set of 9 and you glue the kids' pictures on them, wrap it up in a bow, they present it to mom, grandma for Mother's Day, and the grandma's like, this is the best gift ever. And so you start pulling in those emotions, right? That's what sales is. You're serving. So the mom with all the little kids doesn't have to go find a saw and cut down blocks of wood. She doesn't want to do that, right? She's cleaning up lunch or whatever. And you're like, here are these blocks of wood. Let's make this project super simple for you so that your mom, the grandma, will absolutely love it. And so I think when we learn that sales is not sales is service. How do we serve people? Then it takes like I don't want to be a salesperson. Like it takes it away and it allows us to step in to who we need to be. And that's serving human beings. We were meant to serve. And when we do that, when we put the value out into the world, then we get this stuff that's paper with a guy's face on it, right? That rewards us because we're going out there and we're serving people at the highest level. We're doing it because we care, not because of the paper with a guy's face on it.
I see your vision, and you kept stepping into, look at what I get to present to other moms. They're giving gifts from their children to grandma, and I get to provide this.
Yes.
And that unique way of looking at sales, not, I'm trying to make money.
Yeah.
But I'm getting to give grandma this beautiful gift from my kids.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I love, so starting an online store, can we please change the word e-commerce to something pretty? Like,
Yes, let's do it.
Let's start
do
a
it.
trend. I don't know the word yet. We got to start a trend that
Yeah.
calls it something else. But when you can step in there and improve people's lives with something that doesn't have to have a trademark, doesn't have to have a patent, doesn't need to be complex. Because get on any magazine or read anything about starting an e-commerce store, they say you've got to have a brilliant idea. No, you don't. I sold blocks of wood when I first got started. I've sold cupcake liners. I've sold straws. I've sold necklaces. Just very ordinary things sell because people are already buying them. So after we started that store, we grew it to multi-million by year 2, which when I say that, I still kind of like, wow, that's such a big number because I started out as a school teacher. And so to say that, it's very, very humbling to me that I didn't even take a business class. I didn't know how to import, export. I didn't even know the difference between the two when I first got started. I just sold stuff from around my house. And that's what started, something so ordinary, and it led to something so extraordinary. But the creep thought of this was a one-hit wonder, Allison, you're not good enough, kept coming back into my head. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to start another business. So I started selling pillowcases, which, do you have a pillowcase?
Yes. Yes.
Everybody has pillowcases, right? And so I was like, if everybody's buying pillowcases, why don't I just sell pillowcases? Instead of coming up with this new invention that I had to go pay a lawyer to get a patent, trademark on, all the schnazzy things, get a prototype, and then maybe 2 years later, I'd finally have a product to sell. But then it would take me 6 months to convince the world that they would need this product, or I could sell pillowcases that people are already buying. So I just started with pillowcase. We built that to a multi-million-dollar brand too.
Just a simple pillowcase? Was there anything?
We did quotes on it
Okay.
and pictures, and then we had some with names on it. But it was a pillowcase. People are like, yeah, I need a pillowcase. That's an easy buy, right? Versus this fancy thing that they don't even know what it is yet. All right, I've done this twice. I'm going to see if my daughters can do it. This is my favorite part. My favorite part of the story. I think this is my greatest accomplishment because it showed possibilities. So you have a teenager. Do you remember when he was a teenager?
Yes. So many ideas, so creative.
Yes.
So free.
Yes. But they also slept until 10. And they wouldn't do their chores.
Oh, yes. That part too. Yes.
So that's where our girls were going. They were 10 and 13 at the time, sleeping until noon. And my husband and I were like, we got to do something. So we went down one morning at 10 o'clock and we said, all right, it's 10 o'clock. We're going to do something. You got 3 choices. You can, number 1, you can do more chores. Number 2, you can start a business. Or number 3, you're going to move out of the house. They didn't like the third option.
No. Number 1's not good.
No, they hated it. And anyways, they chose business, which now they're like, Mom, that was so sneaky. You knew we were going to choose a business. And I'm like, that's just good parenting, honey.
Okay, what happened? Tell me.
So they started their business. And this is so crazy. Like I said at the beginning, if I didn't live this, it's almost too good to believe, but I lived it. Like I was there. But at 10 and 13, they started this online business, and I'll tell you what they sold in just a second. But they've hit their first 6 figures before they stepped foot into high school.
Oh, my.
They sold over 21,000, you ready for it? Scarves.
Oh.
The things that you put around your neck, the things that have been selling for centuries, that everybody sells, scarves. But there was a need, and they stepped into it, and they filled that need. Mm-hmm. And so when people are like, I just don't know what to sell online, I'm like, you're overthinking it. Look around your house. Sell what you've got in your house first. Learn how to be messy. Learn how to practice. I mean, Christmas stuff, you always get presents that you don't want anyway. Right? Just go resell those. Learn how to write a description, take a picture. Like, be okay with being messy. And then you're like, oh, okay, I loved selling this. I hated selling this. And then the path gets clear of where you want to go. So anyways, I taught my daughters, and then my sister said, hey, you want to teach me? And I'm like, yeah. So taught her. She ended up beating my daughters. I don't know if it was a competition, but she did it. And then I had friends started coming because they were hearing the story. And then people online were messaging me, hey, Allison, can I pick your brain? And I was like, okay, this is getting, how do I serve more people? Because I know this process works. I've done it twice. I've showed my daughters who were in junior high and elementary.
Showed my sister, showed my friends.
Yeah. And so I set up this community, and we call it the Because I Can Life. And we get to step into what I term the Because I Can Life. Because we can determine our financial future. Because we can give. And we say these statements like our manifesto, because I can live in happiness, because I know because I can accept that success doesn't happen overnight. And being okay with selling stuff in your home today doesn't mean that's the thing you're going to be doing the rest of your life. It just gives you permission to be okay with maybe a C+. Because I know we're all like, we got to be the best. We got to be the best. If I don't do it the first time, the best, it's just awful. No, just be okay with a C+. Come in, test, work it out, and then you're going to get better. And then you're going to get better. And so now I teach thousands of women how to start their own online store. And I'll tell you what, that has been the most humbling experience, because when I felt that I should start teaching about 4 years ago, I was like, no, I'm out. I'm out. Let me just sit behind my computer. I'll sell my cupcake liners. I'll sell my straws. I'm good at that. Don't make me get in front of people. Like, the online world's scary. What if they make fun of my eyebrows that I drew on crooked? Right? All the things that go in your head. And it was so strong, Allison, you need to teach. I gave you this journey to teach other people. And I'm like, oh, okay, you got to help me. You got to help me, put me in touch with people that can help me to know how to do this. And so, of course, I met amazing people along the way. You want to hear a trick that I did for Facebook Lives? Like, okay, social media, going on lives, like, who invented that? That's just not cool. They get the raw. There's no editing. There's no filter, right? So the first few times I took a sticky note, like just a little Post-it note. Yeah. I put it over my phone so I couldn't look at my face. And I just talked into the little camera lens. And I didn't have that second voice saying, Allison, you got wrinkles. Allison.
You're not saying the right thing.
Yeah.
You're going to screw up. Yes.
And it went away. And so I gave myself permission to not look at myself so I could truly focus on the message. And then it helped gain that self-confidence. But like, in every step of the journey, when it was selling my very first product, when I was so scared, I had to realize, okay, that's normal. And this means that I'm growing. So you know what? Just like I told that guy who said, you're selling trash with those blocks of wood, I tell my thoughts, go sit in timeout. I got something to do. I'll come back to you in a minute. Like, I got stuff to do. I need to change lives, if it's my physical products or if it's my coaching. I have to change lives. This is why we're put on this earth, to serve others, to help others. And so those thoughts just sit over there, and I'll address them when I get to you.
I'm wondering, do you think fear, it sounds like you see fear and you're saying, that's where I need to go. Is it that you put it off to the side, or is it an indication of, I need to jump in?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think as humans, we avoid fear, right? It's so much easier to sit and watch Netflix and eat Cheetos than to get out there and do a Facebook Live, or to get out there and, I mean, even if you hide, one thing I love about e-commerce, you can actually hide behind your product and you put your product out there, but it's still hard no matter what. Yeah. But that's where you grow, right? When you're uncomfortable, that's when you move. And when you move into that uncomfortable, into the unknown, of course fear is going to follow, because you've never done it. And your brain is wigging out saying, oh, no, go back to Netflix. That's comfortable. Yeah. Go back to watching whatever. That's comfortable. And we're supposed to grow. And then here's another thing. When we're serving, that makes Satan, the dark, whatever you believe in, really mad at you. He doesn't like us. He doesn't want the world to be good.
Wow.
He's trying to destroy people left and right. And so when we step into something that's going to help someone, if you don't have those self-doubts, it's probably not good enough, because Satan's like, oh, it's not going to change anybody's life. It's okay. But when it does change someone's life,
he's getting scared.
He is taking all his minions and putting them on you to throw you off. I have this gal who came in, Mariana. It took her 9 years to launch her business because she was so scared to do it. So stuck in fear. And she's like, no more, I'm going to do it. She launched her first business. I think she made around $500 with her first launch. And she was so excited, right? She just proved that she could do it. She made money. And then icing on the cake was her husband was like, babe, I knew you could do this. I knew you could do this. And like, that part's cool, right? But there's another part of the story. So 2 weeks later, she gets an email from her customer. And her customer bought a necklace from her, sent it to his wife, they've been separated, living on opposite ends of the country. And as soon as she opened that necklace, she called him and said, let's work this out. Let's work this out. Oh. I know, I get the chills. Every time I tell that story, I get the chills. It took her 9 years because Satan did not want them to get back together. He didn't. He hates us so bad that he was putting so much fear in her. And the moment that she turned it on, she just changed life for these two. They stay together. We're talking generations, right?
Yeah.
Satan's like, I hate you.
Stop.
Yeah, so those feelings of, I can't do this, of inadequacy, of overwhelm, I think they're from Satan or the dark because he knows we're on the right path. And then we watch for, I call it God's glitter, the little sparkles. And that's the path to go on to serve people. It was a necklace. It wasn't a patent, complex anything. It was a necklace. It's there for us. We've got phones, we've got computers, we can get stuff, we can get product easy, and we turn it around and we serve our people. And then the money comes.
You're creating this community of women who naturally love to connect and share their ups and their downs, their fears, and like, I can't do this and I'm scared, but I'm seeing you do it, so it gives me hope. And it gives me, if you could do it and you were scared, then I can do it because I'm scared and I need somebody to show me the way. And
Yes.
you're doing that for us.
And it's because when I started down in this little makeshift office by myself, and I was alone for a long time. And I thought those fears of inadequacy, the fears of overwhelm, the fears of I'm not good enough, I thought I was the only one that thought those things. And as I learned that everybody has those thoughts, I've learned that starting a business alone, don't do that. You don't need to. There's people out there, communities out there that are wanting to say, go do this. There's plenty of space. There's plenty of room. And now with e-commerce booming, everybody's shopping online. And we are needed so much in life right now to step up and serve than ever before. I've got people that they'll send 2 necklaces or 2 earrings, and it's one for the person that buys it, and then one to an extroverted friend who hasn't been able to get out for a while. Because have you ever just gotten a random package in the mail, and you're like, who's this from? You open it up, you weren't even expecting it, and it was from a friend. And what do? You call them. I love you. Thank you so much for thinking about me. And it lifts their spirits up. And we need that right now.
Yes.
We're all in this like funky space in our life where we need more human connection. And just these little things. And it's the business owner who's like, I'm going to step up and I'm going to provide these opportunities for connection.
Do you feel...
I have lots of feels.
I just have this instinct that you feel that it's our job as women to step into it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That it's time for us to stop hiding and step more into this thing that I'm feeling, my girlfriends are feeling, you're feeling, that I'm hearing from you. That's so universal. It's time for us to step out and not be afraid and to do what we're supposed to do, what we're meant to do.
It's our moral obligation to do it. We as women,
Yes.
we as women were meant to serve. We have this desire to take care of people. We have this desire to improve other people's lives. And if you can provide another mom with cupcake liners so she's not spending 3 hours scrubbing out the cupcake pan from burnt cupcake stuff on her pan, serve her.
You're helping.
Serve her. If you've got leftover books laying around, get on Pinterest, figure out what you can do with books, right? Or bundle them up, put them in a marketplace, sell them, so a mom doesn't have to get, 2 years of book finds from the library.
Googling, going out, finding them, paying
Yes.
brand new books. Are you kidding me? If someone gave me the books, that is a huge service. That
Right?
would save me hours and weeks and months of time.
Yeah, if you're like, here are the
Yes.
best books for a 5-year-old, wrap it up, put a little bow around, I don't even know, right? It's gonna save a mom so many hours, and that mom's gonna be so grateful. But I think as women, we get into our head of, oh, I can't charge them anything. I don't have value. I just need to give it to them for free. No, because if you give it to them for free, think about what happens at parades. You go to a parade and they're throwing out free t-shirts, right? People are super excited to get the free thing. I mean, there's like grown men like punching babies in the face trying to get that free t-shirt, right? But then they get home and it's 10 sizes too big or it's 10 sizes too small and just goes in the trash. And so if you give stuff away for free, people don't put value on it because it's not the right fit for them. But when they pull money out, it puts value on it and it balances it out. And so they take what you are giving them, they put more value on it, they take better care of it, they use it more, and then you get the money. So if you are giving stuff away for free, let's say you're an artist and you handcraft earrings and you are charging $2 for an earring that takes you 10 hours to make, you're doing a complete disservice to the person that's buying them from you because they'll treat them like dollar store trash, and they're not at all.
How do you see money?
How do I see money?
Yeah, there's something, you see it as beautiful. And
It is.
I want to hear how you see money.
I see money as a tool. And I heard this from a sweet friend named Kathy Heller. It's a resource. So like a flower, if you put more water on a flower, what does a flower do?
It grows.
Yeah. If you have a giving heart and if you put money into it, what happens to it?
It grows.
It grows. Yeah, money is a resource for us to become more of who we are. So if we're service-based, if we are, of course, if we're evil-based, then if you're evil, don't start a business. let's just leave that
Okay, good. Evil, no.
No, but if you want to go out there and help people to live a beautiful life, like, have you ever given money? It's this feeling of, I want to do that again.
Yeah.
I want to do that again. And so for me, I see money as a means to do good in the world. And it's not necessarily like just giving out like, oh, here's $10, right? No, not like lottery style. I'm talking about microloans. Hey, here's a sewing machine. Let's go do this. Let's build a business together. Let me show you the way, right? Because then she can afford to put her kids in school or food on whatever it is, right? And then she has a more stable environment to make the decisions with her money, right? And then her kids are going to learn. So can I tell you another story?
Yes.
I know, I'm so full of stories.
I love it.
Because they're so good.
I love it. I love it.
So I have a gal come in. She wanted to make money. She has 3 kids, single mom. And she's like, I don't know what to sell. And I'm like, you got this. You got this. So I do a little thing with her, with all my students of how they can find their perfect product to sell. And she decided that she wanted to sell T-shirts. And she comes to me and she's like, I want to sell T-shirts, but I kind of feel like they're saturated. And I'm like, so? No one has your story. No one has your voice. No one has your art. Do this. Do this. So she dives into it. Then she starts seeing this success over and over and over again. And when she started, she didn't have anything. I'm talking nothing. Within a year, she had $1 million business. Selling T-shirts.
That's been, and she's right. It's a crowded space.
It's
I
very
have
crowded.
chills.
Okay, but it gets better. You ready for the next step?
Yes. Yes.
She's teaching her daughter how to do it. Now her daughter has her own business, and I think she's 17 or 18. And then this goes back to even my girl story too. We're showing our daughters, our future generation, that they have options now. You don't have to go to college and get these huge student loan debts and then figure out that's not even what you want to do in life. But you can create something that makes you happy. This daughter, Izzy, she's an artist. She creates designs. I got one on today. It's so cute. Sunshine.
Oh.
State of mind. Isn't that the cutest shirt ever?
It's so full of hope and confidence.
Yeah.
What do you see when you teach a woman, one of your students, and you see them before and how they are to when they accomplish something big like that? What do you see the growth and how do they change?
Okay, so I teach women, mainly women, how to make money online. That's like the thing, that's the tangible thing. But what is delivered is self-confidence. Then, okay, so to make the first dollar online, it's not easy. I'm just gonna put it out there. And it's not hard because you're like, oh, the technology and the glitz and all that stuff. No, it's because you gotta get through here. Like, this is the hardest part. You have to tell your brain, okay, I'm gonna start a business. And your brain's like, oh no, you're not an entrepreneur. You're not a businesswoman. What are you doing? No, go back and do what you wanna do. It's trying to keep you safe, right? And so you have to tell your brain just little baby steps. And you have to prove to your brain, all right, I'm gonna make this first dollar. Don't tell your brain you're going to make $1 million. Your brain's going to call you a liar. But you say, you know what? I'm going to make my first dollar. Your brain can say, okay, I've seen you make $1 before. You can do this. And then you make your first dollar. And then when you make your first dollar, you have to be surrounded with people that will celebrate the heck out of you.
First dollar.
Yes.
Yes.
You have to be celebrated for that. And a community that understands it, because if you go out into the world and you're like, I just made $1 online, they're going to say, okay, that's lame.
How much time did you spend making $1?
Yeah.
Yes. No.
But the entrepreneur world gets it. And so we celebrate the heck out of these women that make their first dollar, because if you think about it, women, they probably haven't been celebrated since junior high when they made the cheerleading team, right? Or whatever, softball or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And to be celebrated as an adult instead of being screamed at from your kids, it helps build their self-confidence. And these women, we can feel what people need. And we can see a product and say, you know what? Those straws would help a mom. Or those straws, let's make them paper and not plastic so we don't bugger up Mother Earth, right? We can see that. That's who we are. And we can get those products out there. I think it just comes, the whole insecurity starts beating us down. Satan beating us down because he knows our power. He knows what we can do. He knows a simple block of wood can change a family dynamic, or a necklace can change future generations. And so we have to work through these thoughts. And by doing it, it's let's make the first dollar. Tell your brain, yes, you can make the first dollar. Make the first dollar, great. Let's double it. Let's go to $2. Great. Let's go to 5,000. Let's go to 10,000. Let's go to 100,000. And you start telling your brain, I can do this. When I made my first $200 online, back in my mind was like, how cool would it be to make $1 million? But my brain was like, oh no, you got a long way to go. And I said, great, let me just get my first 5,000. And my brain said, okay, I bet you can get to 5,000, right? But if I kept saying 1,000, it was such a lie, I couldn't get there. And I think a lot of people online are like, go get your million overnight. No, don't do that. You're not ready for it yet. Just start. The first thing, gain that confidence. And that confidence is what you need to go to the next step. So yeah, money is the thing that's fun, right? Money's always fun. But self-confidence is delivered. And I'm seeing these moms, after I've taught them and they've become successful, and they're teaching their kids, I've seen these kids completely blossom. They're now becoming leaders in their community. They're now standing on stages speaking to other kids about, hey guys, we don't have to go to college. We can run a business that we're passionate about, that we're an artist, or we're a musician, or we're passionate about sports. We can create a lifestyle that we actually love living. I know. It is so fun.
It's huge. 2 questions.
Okay.
Are you still scared? And the second one is, what's your mission? What's next? What are you called to do?
Okay. Number 1, still scared? Always.
Yes.
I think if I'm not scared, I'm not going in the right direction, right? Every time, I'm not kidding, every time I launch a product, I will go to my family. I'm not strong. I will tell you that. I'm not strong. And I will go to my family and I say, I need you to hold my fear. I can't do it. I had to speak in front of a huge audience. And I was like, why am I doing this? Why did I say yes? Why am I not just sitting at home? But I can feel that I need to do it. And so I went to my family and I looked at them all. And I had some of my team members there too. And I said, I'm scared. And this was like 2 years ago. This wasn't when I first started. And I said, can you hold my fear for me? I need to step into who God needs me to be, but this fear is crushing me right now. They all came up, they gave me a hug. And then right before I stood on stage, someone took a picture of my husband holding me, and my kids wrapped around my legs, saying, Mom, you got this. We have your fear. We have your fear, Mom. And I said, thank you. Now I can go step into it. I had an interview, like a month ago, and my little guy he's doing homeschool, right now, doing homeschool at home. He knows, he's watching the clock because he knows what's coming up because I've been talking about it. We talk about business. We talk about stuff all the time. And he puts his camera on no camera, leaves school, comes over to me. He's like, Mom, I know you got this interview. I'm holding your fear. He's 11 years old. And he's like, go, Mom, be who you need to be. And then even this morning before this interview, he's like, Mom, you better come down because I left the house at 4:30. So why is 4:30 in the morning even invented? I don't even know. I don't even know. He's like, Mom, you have to come wake me up because I got to hold your fear. And so for that, like, you can't do business alone. You can't. You'll get swallowed up in those thoughts because you're meant to do something grand, even if it feels so tiny. That lady selling the necklace, she didn't know that she was going to impact lives, right? We're not meant to do this alone. You've got to have a community. You've got to have people that understand business. It's more than just sales. It will always be. And that's the basis of it. And when you learn that principle, it takes off I can't charge money. No, it puts in the value to where you're like, I have to charge you money because I know this product. I know these earrings. I know these shoes. I know these pants are going to change your life. How many times have you put on a pair of pants and you're like, oh my gosh, my butt looks big. That inventor, the designer, they should be so rewarded because they just made our butt look big. And if he would have charged like $2, we wouldn't have ever put them on. Mm-mm. So we have to charge the money so that people will value the product. Mm-hmm. And yes, money's good.
Money is good.
Money is so good. Okay, so what was the second question? Sorry, I forgot.
Well, you live it. What's your mission? What's the next thing?
So this is so fun. Are you ready for this? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I've been through this journey, and it's been such a blessing. And then now I get to watch these other women completely change their lives. Like one gal, she launched her business in March. She had to have surgery, and was like, I don't want to stop. So her husband built her this desk, because she had to lay flat for an entire week after the surgery, built this desk where she literally would type upside down to keep her business going. Mm-hmm. It like the most beautiful story of it. And I get to live these stories. Mm-hmm. And this lady went on, she's selling home decor, nothing fancy. It's like 3-tiered trays and wood bowls, nothing fancy, right? She went on, broke well over $1 million her first year. Like, these are the stories that I get to live, and I get to see them, and I get to be a part of them, and it's such a fulfilling thing for me. And I'm like, that's kind of selfish. I get to show people, but I want other people to live it too. And so what we've done is, our goal now is to give microloans to women. It's about 95% women, where they don't have the opportunity to start a business, where a sewing machine can actually put food on the table, where 2 goats can help a kid go to school. And so last year we were able to give out 2,000 microloans. I think it was 2,300 microloans. And so now our goal is to give out 10,000 microloans, but it's not in my name. It's in the name of my students. And I want my students to feel what I get to feel. So as they're going through this process, they know that they're helping another mom somewhere else in the world to be able to be successful too. And so it's like a twofold thing, right? They're getting the money, they're gaining that self-confidence, and then they're also knowing that there's another woman who literally had nothing, but now she has a sewing machine or goats or whatever it is in her area that will provide for her family and change future generations. So that's my main goal right now, is how can I give more microloans in my students' names? Not in my name, in their name, because I want them to embrace it. It's so powerful. When I go in, I present that to my community, and I'm like, all right, we just gave this many awards. Look at all of your names. My name's not on there. This is you. You're showing up for you, and because of that, you get to see this blessing. And it just builds us together, and it builds our community stronger to go out there and fight and put on, maybe put our hair in a messy bun.
Yes.
Get it out of our face and go out there and serve the world the best that we know how. It's not about perfection. It's just about doing.
Thank you for who you are. Thank you for showing us the way. Thank you for bringing us all with you and creating this community of women that we're all in this together. And
Yes.
I honor and am so appreciative of what you're doing. And thank you so much for sharing. There's a big spotlight on you, and we need to hear more of what you teach and share with us. No, we need you.
You're
So
sweet.
thank you.
But it's these women's stories. And that's the cool part. Like, you are opening up this opportunity for women to see the possibility. And I love what you said. It's always about come with me. It's not, hey, look at me. I got a jacket on. I'll tell you the truth. I still have the tag on it because I haven't had a chance to take it off because I have 4 kids, one going to college. We just got a puppy. The tag is still on this and I'm okay with it.
Wait, pull the tag out, and you're getting on an airplane in an hour.
Yes.
And you said yes, and you did it because you're serving. You wanted your story. You wanted to make sure. We did a prayer before this to have every woman who needs to hear your message hear what she needs to hear.
Yes, because it's possible. It changed my life completely. Completely. Knowing that when we go to like a restaurant, our goal now is we can't double. We found, like, when we get the bill, it's like $60 or $80, whatever it is. I always said we want to double and give like $160 to the waitress, but it kicks it back and it says error. So we always go like $1 underneath what the bill was. We've had so many waitresses cry on us. That is what money is for. It's to give. It's to give that waitress who, and I was a waitress once, so I know it, her sore feet. She's been working all day. She's tired. And when you just put a little extra in, and you can see that emotion, how much she means to the world. How grateful I am that she brought me food with a mask on that she's been wearing for 8 hours. I am so grateful for that woman showing up for me. So how can I show up for her? So it's my job to figure out how to make money so that I can bless more lives. And if you're listening right now, like, it is your job, your moral obligation to get out there, learn how to make money. It's not complicated. Like, uncomplicate it. Sell the trash in your home. Make the money. There's plenty of marketplace you can sell on to get started so that first you can take care of your family. Take care of you. Take care of your family. Then you can start taking care of your friends, your neighbors. And that's the ripple effect that's going to change the world.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and we want more of you, and keep singing your everything. We need you. Thank you so much.
Let's do it. Let's change the world.
Let's do it. Thank you so much, Allison.
Thank you.
I love Allison's story. Allison discovered a business in her own backyard and turned it into a success for herself, her daughters, and now thousands and thousands of other women. She really does prove that you can start with whatever you have, wherever you are. So thanks to Allison, I don't think I'll feel like I have a shortage of opportunities ever again. Could you just feel your mind expand as you listened? Yes, there's more amazing interviews to come. We're just getting warmed up. Recognize each one of these interviews will add a new understanding for you every time you see it. So don't miss an episode. Remember to share this series with the women you love. If anything in this episode reminded you of someone, make sure they know about the Millionaire Within Her while it's being shown for free. Thanks again, and I'll see you in episode number 2.
Money, success, beauty were the keys to happiness. We would have a lot more happiness there, and we see that's not what works. But when you work on your consciousness, your happiness, and your self-love, then the money that comes along, not only are you able to receive it, but you know it's not the basis of your self-worth. It's actually the expression of it. And that's where you have fulfillment along with the money.
It's because I have a vision when I'm 83 years old that I'm going to be sitting around telling my story to my grandkids and all these other kids, and it's the most fantastic story. And you know what, Mom? Right now I have nothing to talk about. So I set out to write the most fantastic story, and I think I have. You've committed to a level of excellence inside of yourself when no one else thinks it's possible. There was a time when you'd be looked at as a girl, you're supposed to marry somebody rich, somebody who's supposed to take care of you. I never felt that. I'm gonna tell you that you are the sum of the obstacles that you overcome. If you had a really easy life, it won't be any fun.
I never believed for a minute that I could go from being $124,000 in debt to running a multi-million-dollar business. But there is a way to do it, and anyone can do it. You can find $1 million ideas. If you haven't fixed this, you might experience a little bit of success and then you lose it. The first step to transformation and transforming your life is becoming aware of your thoughts, because they can make you or break you.